So, welcome back, my dear children, to our online classes once more. So, today we are about to begin with a very different kind of a story, Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom. Before I begin, I would like to really offer my thanks and say a big thank you to all the feedbacks that I have received from you all. It gives me all the inspiration, all the warmth, all the appreciation that I need at this moment when I cannot see you like I used to every time, every day. So, yes, keep sharing your feedbacks, keep sharing your comments so that I can keep on continuing with my best for you. Right? So, we move on with the chapter now, Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom. Now, see, this happens to be an autobiography of Nelson Mandela himself. What is the meaning of autobiography? Autobiography means, yes, writing your own life story. So, Nelson Mandela has penned down a part of his life story when he became the first black president of South Africa. Right? A nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones. A quote by Mandela himself. A nation should never be judged in the way it treats its highest citizens, but in the way it treats its lowest and the poorest ones. That is the way a nation should be judged. That is the way a nation should be acclaimed and appreciated, right? So we move on with this beautiful essence, with this beautiful freedom fighters story, and you will see that you will also spark a kind of inspiration, and you will realize that where there is a will, there is a way. Where you are determined, you can change your course of life. We will learn about the great sacrifices of the freedom fighters of South Africa in this autobiography. Now, Nelson Mandela. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was a South African anti-apartheid. Apartheid here means a kind of war that was continuously being waged by the blacks against the Britishers. There was a kind of discrimination going on against the blacks, and so when this discrimination was going on due to the race, caste, color, creed, this whole discrimination came under this word apartheid system. So Nelson Mandela was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary, political leader and philanthropist. What do I mean by philanthropist? Philanthropist means a great social worker who served as the president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He was the first black head of the state and the first elected in a fully representative democratic election. As you read the story, as we move on into his autobiography, you will find the war that he had to fight against the whole community, against the whole apartheid system. So let us begin and see what is the autobiography about. The micro summary of the story. Long Walk to Freedom is the 1994 autobiography of Nelson Mandela, detailing his climb from an anti-apartheid activist and Robben Island jailed terrorist. He was jailed also as a terrorist, to ANC leader, African National Congress leader, and a cultural icon. Cultural icon means, yes, cultural icon means cultural figure, cultural personality, In South Africa, a brutal, a very, very cruel practice named apartheid was very popular in those days. Apartheid referred to the discrimination between people on the basis of their race, caste, and color. I have already explained, and here I have added a line also for you all to remember that apartheid referred to the discrimination, to the division, to the segregation, and to the lots of injustice that happened to the people on the basis of their race and color. The only memoir published during Mandela's life, the book is a testament to the greatness of the first black president of South Africa. This was the only memoir. Memoir means a kind of, you can say, memoir actually you can say that a kind of narration or a kind of biography written about personal experiences. So it was a kind of personal experiences, the kind of memoir published during Mandela's life, and the book is a testament, is a proof to the greatness of the first black president of South Africa. Now we move on to the autobiography of Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. Long Walk to Freedom highlights the key moments, the most important moments of Nelson Mandela's life and his struggle. Endeavor means his efforts, his struggle as the greatest freedom fighter of the 20th century. Nelson Mandela's amazing and heroic life not only is the one that inspires, but also it educates, because the terms dignity and integrity are unfamiliar to some people even now. We do not know the meaning of dignity. We do not know the meaning of integrity. Integrity means consistency, to be united on one common grounds. Dignity means self-respect. So many of us do not know the terms. So this amazing life story will not only inspire us, but it will also educate us, because it is going to teach us these terms, dignity and integrity, throughout the story. We can now come on to the flowchart. Nelson Mandela, the first paragraph, swears in as the first black president of South Africa on 10th May 1994. Nelson Mandela was sworn in as the first black president of South Africa on 10th May 1994. 10th May is an autumn day in South Africa. Why? Because on this day there was the largest gathering of international leaders on South African soil for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. Which actually, what kind of government? What were the policies before this non-racial government came or was sworn in? Which days? It was completely black days that marked, black days in the sense dark days. Very dark days were going on in South Africa before 10th May 1994. Apartheid system existed. People were discriminated. There was injustice. So South Africa had to face very, very dark days before 10th May 1994. And that was the autumn day, that was the blessed day, because South Africa saw the largest gathering. Largest means the biggest gathering of international leaders on the soil of its country. The swearing-in ceremony took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater in Pretoria. In Pretoria, the swearing-in ceremony took place. He addressed the rainbow gathering. Now, I have already described here, and take a careful note of it. What is the meaning of rainbow gathering? Rainbow gathering means various communities of people with a common shared feeling, with a zest with an inspiration telling that. Who said that? Nelson Mandela said that never, never, and never again should it be that a beautiful land like Africa would experience the oppression of one by another. On this 10th May 1994, Nelson Mandela addressed the huge gathering and inspired the Africans, telling that never, never, and never again would it be that Africa will experience the oppression of one by another. Right? He wished that freedom in Africa should reign. He wished that freedom in Africa should continue. The army officials who could have caught and put him in jail before were now saluting him to pay respect to the newly born democracy. The army officials before when he opened and he tried many times to aware the people, then what did the army officials do? Nelson Mandela tried to aware the people that Africa should be free. Africa should reign. This discrimination should stop. There should be indiscrimination. But that time the army officials, they immediately caught him and put him in jail. So now on this 10th May they could not, because now they have gathered there to salute him and pay respect to the newly born democracy in South Africa. The two national anthems were sung at the time of his swearing-in ceremony. Because he believed in non-discrimination, he respected the oppressor and the oppressed. He respected the British people and he respected his own countrymen also. So two national anthems were sung. One was of the British and the other one was of the South Africa. He recalls back the history of South Africa and pays homage to the national martyrs Oliver Tambo, Luthuli and Yusuf Dadoo, who sacrificed their lives for the sake of their motherland. Now he pays homage to the national martyrs. He recalls the history, what Africa had to go through, what this apartheid system had taken from them. And he describes the men, those patriots, those revolutionaries as the men of uncommon courage, wisdom and generosity. He saluted the death of thousands of people who sacrificed their lives for the cause of courage. It is not the absence of fear, but the victory over it. It is not that he is fearless now, that he has been able to conquer the British people. It is not like that. It is not that he has become fearless, but he has become victorious over fear. Fear was there, but he had climbed above fear. He has won the victory over fear, right? He tells that the martyrs were the men of extraordinary courage and wisdom and generosity. The country of South Africa is rich in minerals and gems, but these are immaterial. These are nothing. These are all minute, insignificant things. The greatest wealth of the country is the people of South Africa. This is the real wealth. This is the real richness of South Africa. He tells no one is born hating another person because of the color of the skin, background or religion. Who is ever heard? Do you know any child, any baby born hating another person? No, the baby, the child is taught to hate. He is taught to hate the other person because of the color, the skin, the background and the religion. This is how the apartheid system was born. This is how the Britishers took over everywhere because of this kind of discrimination against people. They were so confident, so proud of their color, of their race, of their religion. Britishers were ever proud. Now they have understood that they cannot continue with this kind of pride, and so now they have changed and they are now into international relations with every other country. If people learn to hate, they can be taught to love too. If I can teach a child to hate, I can teach my child to love too. He talks that man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never exhausted. My dear children, you can hide a candle flame, but you can never exhaust a flame. If a candle continues to burn, it will burn till the last drop. It will burn till the last drop. So as long as the man is living, his goodness is like a flame. You can hide it, but you can never exhaust it as long as the man is living. No man is born with harassment, rather love, which comes natural to the human heart. Every baby, every child is born with love, and it is natural to the human heart. He talks about the twin obligation, very, very important section of this whole autobiography. He talks about the twin obligations towards man's own family and obligation towards his nation also. I cannot discharge one obligation and forget the other. Every African has got twin obligation. One obligation is towards his family and the other obligation is towards his motherland, his Africa. While discharging his duties, he found that he was not free. When he tried to discharge his duties towards his family, he found that he was not free because the nation called him at the same time. Hence, he joined the African National Congress, ANC, fought for the freedom of his country. Hence, when he was discharging his responsibilities as a family person, that time the nation beckoned, the nation called him, and he joined the African National Congress and fought for the freedom of his country. He knew, what did he know? That the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. He knew that the oppressor must also be free. He has to be free from the oppressed. You cannot have this kind of mindset. You have to educate the oppressor that you cannot continuously keep on oppressing the other. This education, this liberation has to be there. He knew that has to happen, and otherwise, if it did not happen, Africa will never gain its freedom. So he liberated, he educated, he tried to educate, and the oppressor and the oppressed are alike and are robbed of their humanity. Oppressor cannot be called a human because he is torturing, he is discriminating. So how can he be called a human when the oppressor is discriminating, torturing the other human? A human cannot torture the other human. So he is robbed, he is stolen of his humanity. Oppressed, the one who is suppressed, do you think, can he be called a human? Do you think that this person who is oppressed can be called a human? No, because after continuous oppression, after being continuously suppressed, his humanity is killed. So the oppressor and the oppressed are alike. They are robbed of their humanity. Now, as we conclude, social equality is the only basis of human happiness. That is the message of the story. That social equality is the only basis, is the only foundation of human happiness. If there is social inequality, that nation can never rise. that nation can never be free. And so, this great freedom fighter showed us the way to social equality, showed us how determination can change anybody's life, and showed us where there is a will, there is a way. Right, children? Have a nice day. Be respectful towards each other, be happy with each other, and love each other. Right? Thank you.